Welcome, everybody, back to the Bag Brigade Podcast, which is formerly known as the Tis Talk Podcast. This is episode. I don't even know what episode it is anymore. As far as Bag Brigade Podcast is probably like 5. But Tis, if you want to add Tis Talk, it's probably like 60 something. Shit, I don't know. For all the old OGs out there. Anyways, welcome back to the show. I know we don't do this very often anymore, but I'm trying to make it. I figured with everything that's going on, I was like, we gotta talk to the people. By the way, I got my co-host on the line. Too woke to go broke.
What's the deal?
Chilling, man. It's just been it's been a whoa. How's that? Been a good day so far. I mean, did a little working this morning. Not gonna get too much into that, but it was very slow, and kind of basically got the rest of the day off.
Nice.
And then tomorrow is Easter. The He Has Risen rally. Is that what we're going to see on Monday, TooWoke? The He Has Risen rally?
Oh, is that what they're calling it?
I mean, that's what homie Josh has been saying, just as a joke.
I mean, I don't really see. I don't know. I mean, shit. Who the fuck knows, man? To be honest with you, I just it just all depends on if we see he is tweeted.
Well, I'll definitely share my screen in a second. I haven't seen any tweets come through. I've just seen a lot of like people making their own tweets, but the only thing I've seen is most recent on CNBC is Trump's approval rating on economy drops to lowest of his presidential career. Well, shocking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, shocking. I mean, it is a circus, right? It is a clown show when you have Trump 2.0 tariff, whatever. It's a clown show, as we've been saying. I mean,
yeah,
at least. And
100%.
And then you got JD Vance, who I mean, is he even the vice president? I feel like Elon's got more of got more pull than he does,
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then you got Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, the WWF, WWE, whatever, owner, founder's wife, is like the Department of Education. And then you got Howard Lutnick of Cantor Fitzgerald, who's the Treasury advisor or something? Is that his official title?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you got Bassett, which is his what's Bassett?
He likes to be known as the world's greatest bond salesman, and the market gave him a big middle finger recently. So that was funny.
What was the drama between him and that dude Navarro or something? Like Navarro was advising like to do certain things, and then Bassett. Yeah, dude, it's such a.
Well, I think Bassett is was kind of like, whoa, hey, we got to watch this bond market kind of deal, and the other guy just wants to burn it all down, Navarro. So I think.
But why does he want to burn it? Why would he want to burn it all down? That's
well, they just have these stupid plans. Like they think, that they're going to bring manufacturing back to America and this and that and the other. So he thinks that their plans, help them get there, even though it's just, just insanity kind of deal. So, so basically, yeah, I mean, he's all gung ho on this shit, and Bassett is at least like, hey, you don't necessarily know what the market's always gonna, you move one lever and it has a lot of ramifications that you may not see coming, right? So it's just like, the other guys are just like, I don't know what their deal is.
I mean,
you have a bunch of people without that much.
Do they have a plan? Is the question. I mean, like I get that they have a plan, right? Like, tariffs, 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 tariffs. I mean, how much tariff could a woodchuck tariff of woodchuck Trump could Trump tariff, tariff, tariff. I mean, that's all you hear. And it's just so funny. Okay, Mo's going to be here in about 5 minutes. It's
I mean,
just
in
so
my opinion, it's all on purpose to be as like disruptive as possible. Now, why?
well,
You
you
know,
know my theory or my
it's just as scammers is my theory. They just like
well,
to.
yeah.
It's the biggest dump and pump in the history of the world. You know what I mean? And it's
We
not really even a dump and pump because these dudes get to make money off of it going down and going up. So it's like it's just like the biggest insider trading scam probably of all time.
well, yeah. I mean, we saw the perfect example of that. Was that the 9th of April or something? I don't remember the day, but he came out on what was it, April 2nd? Was that the
Mhm.
Liberation Day? That
I
stupid,
think so, man.
stupid
Yeah.
chart, and the market went up for a second when it was like 10% across the board, right? And then he pulls out that chart and starts showing the tariffs on, a lot of those Asian countries, like Vietnam and 45, like, China, all this stuff. And like, that's when the market like really sold off. And I was like watching it. And, and then of course, I think it was like a day or two later, I'm sure you remember this, and he did post a tweet saying, "This is a good time to buy," but it was like a few hours
Well,
after the market
here's
opened.
the here. Well, hold on. Before you get there, we got to go a couple days earlier. There was a tweet released by some random Twitter account that said the Trump team is debating, putting a 90-day pause on tariffs. Trump comes out and actually says, "No, no, that's not real. I have nothing to do with that." Okay, the market surged like what 40 something dollars or like 40 something dollars in like an hour on that fake tweet, which I guarantee you
Oh
they were
yes,
behind.
I do remember
And
this.
then 2 or 3 days later, Trump says, "Good time to buy." And what does he do? 90-day pause on
So
tariffs. So
here was the confusion with me, at least, because when he did post that tweet, and I did see it, and I was watching Josh. Shout out to Josh at the Trading Fraternity, Stock Market Live, um, homie. But yeah, he basically he said what it said was, "This is a good day to buy," or whatever, and then
yes,
right after it, it said DJT, right? So I think it
yeah,
was really
yeah.
hard to understand, like, if he was
Well, he
talking
did
about
that in order to
DJT, like the stock, like
Yeah,
his
he did that in order to obviously like be able to have deniability of
yeah,
everything else. You know
yeah,
what I mean? To just be like,
sneaker,
"Oh no, I was talking about Trump stock. Like,
yeah,
we got it going on over here," kind of
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and
right,
obviously
yeah.
talking
I
about
mean, so yeah, so hold on, tangent. Here, let's finish this. So yeah, the market goes down, and it's not just the market we're talking about here, but this is a bond, crisis.
not quite yet.
Well, but we're calling it the basis trade. Okay, I mean,
Yeah, but at
what?
that point, the bond market was still at its high. It was still like yields were at their lowest that we had seen them, and then all of a sudden, I think it was like a few days later that they plummeted off of all
Right,
that
right, and we
craziness.
were in
Yeah.
the TLT puts that did very, very well actually. Um, but like, it's just crazy because that tweet came out, and
Uh-huh.
and you want to talk about insider bullshit? I mean, this has got to be the most illegal. I don't even know how.
I mean,
Some
I call it. I don't even call this insider trading. This is straight up treason.
Yeah, it's just straight up.
I mean,
I mean,
it
just
is. This is
one
treason.
hundred
Like,
percent manipulated at this point. Like, the
yes,
market's always manipulated people. If you don't realize, like, why don't you do if you ever want to realize that
but
there's
never has it been manipulated by one dude.
by
So
one man,
yeah.
yes, it's one person's tweet, comment, whatever, and so that same day, as I'm sitting here trading. I think I had SPY calls that were expiring that day, like pretty freaking far out of the money, like 545, and we were way
I did.
over that. And I was in puts though at the same time because those calls had just gone worthless on me and they're expiring. Next thing I know, that tweet comes out that the announcement comes out that he's pausing tariffs for 90 days. And dude, SPX SPY, the S&P 500, shot up like a rocket and ended the day up 10%. NASDAQ 12%. Those contracts that I was holding were worthless. They were zero. Ended up, and they were expiring that day. Ended up, I mean, I didn't sell them at the high. I mean, I think I bought them for $40, but at the same time, I sold it for 100 something out of nowhere. The value just skyrocketed. Yeah, to see you don't see that. You do not see the NASDAQ. Oh, here we go. Hang on a second. I think Mo's joining us right now. Oh, there he is. Let me drag you down here, boy.
What up, boy?
What's going on?
You know how it is, man. It's nice out here. How's everything going in H-Town, boy?
Everything good in H-Town, man. I don't like that hat. We got TooWoke here too, bro. He's just he don't have his camera on tonight.
It's all good. You know, I got the beach hat, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we were just real quick, just before I'll get to you in a second. We were just talking about the tweet the other day, the 90-day tariff pause thing, and how the market went up 10% on S&P, 12 on NASDAQ, and then basically the next day. Oh, it was the next day, bro. First of all, there was videos of Trump. Like, I don't know where they got these videos from. Like in the
talking about this guy made $500 million.
yeah, there's that. I mean, a lot of people made money off of that.
And I'm sure those dudes were like, "Shut the fuck up, dude."
Yeah, but even like retail traders. I mean, like I'm just saying, like if you followed that tweet, I mean, you know, you could have absolutely crushed it. Like I said, I was holding contracts that were worth a penny, but they went up, you know, 3. I don't even know how much percent that would be, but it doesn't matter. The next day, the crazy thing is, and this is when you know that the market's rigged again. And I learned something that day. I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't the markets be halted? It's above 7%. I didn't realize the circuit breakers only kick into the downside, not the upside. That's kind of crazy, right? Like you think it would kick in both ways on the indexes.
No, I wouldn't. But yeah,
I mean, they do it for individual stocks.
For individual stocks, not the index.
They only do it. They only do it for individual stocks when somebody's getting their ass pounded that they know. You know.
No, I mean, no, even when it goes, yeah, I guess the hedges or whatever. But yeah, okay, fine, okay. But then the next day, the market, like the S&P, literally. I mean, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh shit! It was at 6.75% negative, right? And I mean, you know, the circuit breakers kick in at 7, and it would like touch 7, right? It was like it would touch it. 7, it would touch it, and then it would touch 7%, like, and maybe go slightly like 7.02. I don't know, and then the algos kick in, right? Like to keep it from circuit breaking. It was very obvious. Let's just put it.
That's how very manipulative.
It did it twice. Like I was like, oh shit, and it's gonna do it again. So that all I'm trying to say is the market is extremely manipulated, not only by people, but they have their algos that are set to do certain things to, you know.
Look, let's be honest here. This market, in my opinion, is obviously more than 80% plus computer manipulated. 20%.
Well, yeah, I mean, just if you really want to see it,
it's by the money flows of big money that's flowing in.
Go watch the SPY 10 minutes before market close. Watch it actually 15 minutes for market close, and then when it gets to that 10-minute mark, we call it the 10-minute rig. Watch those candles start moving in like insane direction, watch them move because that's all the algos, that's all the bots kicking in, doing their thing. I mean, that's what's going on.
I will not be surprised. Added to your point, that all that we witnessed on that day of the tweet and on April 7th. With that fake news that came out, I would not be surprised, and I can obviously say this, that all this was pre-programmed to happen at a certain moment in time. Time exact, we don't know, but that's my opinion. I personally think that this was all just programmed to happen. because
programmed. I mean, that's what we were trying to find. That's what we and TooWoke were talking about. Is it like programmed? Like, what is the plan?
like scheduled to happen at a certain moment in time, not at an exact moment, minute, or hour, but to happen at a certain X moment. Like, okay, we're going to make this happen at this time frame,
right?
Just because, and then it programs. It's scheduled to happen at that moment. Obviously, witnessing what we're all witnessing. Obviously, activity of insiders is beyond the naked eye. Like we see that every single day, day in and day out, we're in the market.
I mean, like Trump gave not only his homies an opportunity that day, he did tweet that shit, and he gave. I mean, if you were willing to take the risk, I mean, you know, he gave everybody the opportunity.
He gave everybody a free gift that day.
Basically, if you did follow it, I will say that. Now, that being said, this goes beyond equities, and we all know that, right? I mean, this is now become, you know, when the bonds started, you know, bond prices, not yields, started crashing, and yields are skyrocketing at such a rapid pace. Like we've been higher on yields, more, you know, in the past few years. We've been lower on bonds, but
we've been higher on yields in the past couple months, like 6 months.
Right, but we've never
plus.
seen the velocity of how fast it dropped, like we just saw.
Yeah.
That was kind of where all of a sudden Trump, you know, starts, you know, backtracking on some of this. And honestly, I you know, I don't know, man. I don't know what his plan is, who he's listening to, and just, yeah, you know, I don't know. It's one day it's this, the next day it's that. The market doesn't know how to respond. I mean, every Mag 7 stock right now is underneath, except for Netflix, is underneath every major moving average daily, at least. Netflix is the only one.
They're crushing.
With the consideration,
their earnings they were already above them. Netflix was the only one.
Let me add a point. With the consideration also that SPY already has a death cross on a macro scale. We all know.
Yeah, we did get the death cross. The death cross is where
it does become very challenging for that to literally skyrocket above the 200 if it has a death cross, unless algos decide to do whatever the heck they want to do. But that's not gonna happen.
I mean, I'll pull the charts up here in a second, but what I'm getting at is look, the death cross, for reference, people, is when the 50-day moving average does cross underneath the 100, 200, 100 or 200 day. Hold on a second. I posted it, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. It's when the 50 crosses below the 100, I believe, and if it goes to the 200, I mean, that's even worse. But the last time we saw that happen was in 2022, and that was when we started hiking rates, right? And so, yeah, that's very bearish. And I've been seeing all this shit. I know we're just so all over the place right now, but I've been seeing all this stuff on Twitter. I posted this in the Discord, like about people like, oh, you know, Jerome's going to cut rates, Powell's going to cut rates, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, something, you know, and I'm like, great. That's not, but they're all calling for a bullish, like calling that bullish. And
yeah, they just don't.
And I'm like, that's not bullish at all.
They just don't care.
That's not bullish at all. That's actually bearish. And I even made a point in the server. I was like, I've been seeing all this. I'm like, I don't know what these people are thinking, but like, here's
I'll tell you why
example.
they think it. I'll tell you why they think it is because most of them only started trading at all, or even looking at the stock market in COVID years.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some of these guys that I do follow, I mean, I have been following and kind of respect what they post, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, no, that's not bullish at all. Look at the Fed funds rate. Every time they cut, we go into a recession, the market falls. There has literally every time. I mean, every time. And then I posted it in the server, and I'll pull it up when I share my screen, but Fed cutting rates, especially like some sort of like an emergency cut, right? Like not just like, you know, cutting half a point or quarter point here. We're talking like a substantial cut. The market historically tanks from there, and then finds a bottom and then goes up. But I mean, I don't know, and then you got Powell or Trump trying to, get rid of Powell ASAP when he's got like 13 months left or something. Dude, it's a comedy show, bro. But anyway, so what I'm saying is I don't know. Trump's approval rating is down. Trump renews call for Powell to lower rates. He should bring them down. And this is what I wanted to get at. My thesis, not just my thesis. I've heard other people say this, but I think what Trump's trying to do here is look like a hero. And when I say that, I say it because these tariffs and all this, obviously it's inflationary. It's pushing up unemployment, right? Unemployment from government jobs or whatever. I mean, just bringing onshoring manufacturing in the United States is not cheap. We don't have cheap labor like China and Vietnam and all that shit, right? So that is going to make prices higher, right? And so what I think he's doing, or part of his plan is to push us into a situation where the Fed is forced to cut rates because we have $32 trillion or $33 trillion in debt here in America, and $10 trillion or it's 9 or 10 is due to mature this June, 2 months away. And when it matures, if he can get Powell to cut rates to a lower interest rate, well, then he can he can refinance the debt at a lower rate. Okay, and it makes him look like a hero in a sense. Right.
The only thing about that is, don't you think that's a conversation that they could have? I mean, that's the thing that's confusing about it.
I don't think they're talking.
I don't think they're talking.
I don't think they're really having real, like, him and Powell aren't sitting down.
He fucking hired the guy. I mean, he
did. He hired him he was at 17, and then he regretted it when he started hiking rates back in 2019. He was pissed about it.
I think, to be quite frank, yes, they could try to talk, but I'm agreeing with both of you guys. I don't think they're talking at all at this point currently. I don't think they are. At the same time, yes, Trump has this mentality of trying to see what he will do to either replace Powell and get, like I said, get his shit together to cut rates to refinance the debt.
He's got 2 months. He got 2 months.
2 months' time is going to be too short of whatever action Powell will do. And at the same time,
unless something breaks big time in the next 2 months.
Here's the question I can ask, and this is going to be an open forum at this point. If Powell were to get fired, and Trump fires Powell for the reasons whatever, then who will be the next person in line that we would know to take that seat?
They were talking. Hang on, they were talking about that.
Because to take the wheel of the Fed, the way the whole economy and everything behind it that we all know, at least both of us know, it's looking like it's obviously a comedy show.
Kevin Warsh would be his replacement, I think. Trump wants Powell out of the Fed. Waiting in the wings is Kevin Warsh.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know who that is, but I'm sure.
I don't either. I don't know.
Never heard about it.
He's a guy who's gonna obviously do Trump's bidding, but
exactly.
The thing is the chairman of the Fed can't just lower rates by himself, anyways. Like, and
he needs to go the other big up.
Yeah, and there's a committee. There is a committee, and they,
And to be honest, Powell was actually one of the most dovish ones over the last couple months. When you see the comments,
he was not last time, not his last.
Yes.
Meeting. No, his last
meeting.
But the time before, yes, he was extremely dovish, aka bullish for the market. Yes.
Yeah, and so I mean, but my point, yeah, you're right. But the last meeting, but he was still one of the most dovish because he was the last one to be talking like that. A lot of them were already talking like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, Trump's playing a game where there's just a lot of question marks there because it's like, okay, well, the Fed's 2 jobs are to combat inflation and to help with unemployment,
right?
Or to keep, employment.
Monetary policy.
Don't you think that the Fed would be sitting there thinking, okay, we've got all this debt due, that's going to be a major inflationary issue because we're going to have to print more money to pay for all this debt and blah, blah, blah. So none of it really makes any sense as far as like, why wouldn't basically all of them be on the same page about this if it's a good plan? I mean, the Fed has more data than fucking anybody. So,
Right. And here's another point I can add to that as well. Understand also the Fed is a separate identity from the government. It has to be obviously a collaboration between both. And from my point of view, I don't see that. I don't
Well,
see
yeah,
that
but that's the
at all.
beauty of the situation is they don't like
There
they're
is no
separate.
connectivity between the government
They
and
don't
the
have
Fed
to like they can do as they feel
as they
they
please
need
if they
to
want to.
without whatever the president said. So that's what Trump's
yes,
trying
they're
to
supposed to
do.
be independent and he's trying to fuck with that. But
Yeah,
the main thing that I'm saying is like the Fed knows that no matter what, if you have all this debt due, it has to get paid at whatever rate you're currently at. And so they understand that. It's not even a matter of collaboration. It's just a matter of common sense. It's like, okay, this is just how it works. You know what I mean? It's
right.
not about like, so
So
Well, yeah.
what do you
So how it
are
works?
you
Yes.
saying they in cahoots?
no,
Just
I'm
acting
saying that
like they're
they
No,
don't.
not?
I'm saying they
no,
don't
no.
seem to be on the same page about that being even a good plan at this point,
Plus, we
which
also we also
I
got to
don't think
understand.
I think their timeline is just too short at this
We
point.
gotta understand something also. Understand, we all already know this. They've been kicking the can down the road for God knows how many decades at this point, and it's gone up so extreme that trying to make up a plan now, it's obviously way too late to try to solve it all in one day. It's not gonna happen.
Well,
But
look,
yeah,
I'll say this before we get cut off and then have to rejoin. I'll say this, and I've said it before, and you know what I mean. Look, interest rates historically, I'm talking go back 50, 60, 70 years, whatever. The average interest rate that the Fed has across the board is about 5 to 6%. Okay. And after '08, we went basically to zero for a very long time. They call it the age of easy money. And everybody got used to that. A lot of people got rich, a lot of buildings got built, a lot of things happened. And so as soon as, you get used to that environment and then it changes and you start going up in interest rates, like, pe- people have a tantrum. The
they
market
don't
has
want
a
that.
tantrum. But the thing is but it's healthy to have a more stable, higher interest rate. You can't have just zero interest at 1% interest rate, right? Like, you can't do that. We did it for 12 years. We can't do it.
It's a stable cycle if it were to rise and cut at a constant rate, not at the age of money that
But
we
yeah,
easy
the
money.
average. I mean, being at 0 to 1 interest rate is not a health. That's not healthy for an economy. I mean, it's just inflationary as shit.
That's basically adding steroids to the economy, which obviously at
And we
the
did
end,
it we were at like 0 to 1% for almost a full decade. And when they tried to raise them in 2018, 2019, when he was doing his first tariffs, the fucking market had a tantrum.
yeah,
You
the
had the
whole crowd said
Christmas Eve massacre of 2018, like all that shit, man. Like,
the
well,
crowd said
here's one thing about that is the one thing is though, like, to be fair, and I mean, you know how I feel about tech anyway. I think 80% of tech companies. Now, I'm not talking about the Mag 7, but I'm talking about all the other ones that are these 10 and $100 billion companies
yeah,
that
your
basically.
Dells and your Palantirs
But I'm
and
just saying, like a lot of these companies that shouldn't even exist, a lot of these startups that have become worth billions based on basically nothing, and the reason that that exists is because of that lower interest environment, because we've switched from a manufacturing society 30, 40 years ago, where we were we did make goods and we produced steel and we produced all these things, and now we're a service economy. And in a service economy, basically, I think the way kind of get at is just that, like, I think what happened was, they saw the writing on the wall, obviously, all these Wall Street dudes and whatnot. And they saw that the world, was changing to this tech service industry big time. Our entire, if you look at the S&P in, 2000 to 2008 when the big crash happened versus now, you know what I mean? Like the companies are way different and the valuations are fucking tremendously different, right? So it's like, so they wanted low interest rates so that all these companies could fucking rise from nothing, you know what I mean, on cheap money. Most of them never made $1, you know what I mean? It's like,
or it took them a decade too, you know,
or the ones that made it, it took forever exactly to do it.
Uber would be like a perfect example of that.
Well, even Amazon, right? Like they took forever. They lost money for years and years and years. You know what I mean? And then finally, you know, you rise from that, and the winners win and the losers lose, which is fine. But point being is that, like, you know, you can't do that forever. And when that economy rises, and it was doing extremely well, better than I ever expected, to be honest. You know, you can't come in there and rock the boat all of a sudden. And that's the craziest part about what's been happening lately is just like you're rocking the boat on an economy that was ripping so hard. And just my experience from that is '08. Like I was an investor back then. I wasn't a trader, but
yeah, didn't you like grab Caterpillar at like a really good price or something?
Yeah, I grabbed Caterpillar, Ford. I grabbed a lot of things at a super good price. And
that's the beauty of all of this, though, man.
And I made like 3 and 4x on my money, but if I had just held, I would have made like 15x on a lot of the shit. But anyways, like I owned Caterpillar at around $10, bro, and that shit went, you know, it was like
dude, Caterpillar's again sky high right now, like all time high.
But anyways, and you know, those used to be badass companies in America. And they take a lot of money, but they borrow a lot of money and they pump a lot of money. You know what I mean? So it's like good times are good for those companies, bad times are bad. Whereas this tech business, um, you know, this is the first time that our market's been even more than the .com bubble. Our market is way more intertwined with tech nowadays. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean that's the Mag 7 controls. I don't know the exact percentage, but I mean just of the S&P, it's a. I know Nvidia is like 6% of S&P. That's just Nvidia, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So add Apple, add Google, add Meta, add Netflix, add Tesla, add Amazon, add Microsoft, you know, like you know, so when tech starts getting hit, I mean, it's gonna drag it all down, bro. I mean,
what used to be Exxon, Shell,
well, they used to call it FANG, right? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix,
here's what I'm going with
Apple.
Here's what I'm about to say. What used to be the strength of the weight of the market, which I still remember this when I was a kid, which was Exxon, Shell, IBM, to name the top 3. Now, what weighs the market the most is obviously the Mag 7 tech.
Well, I mean, and those companies still do weigh in, but the thing is that, you know, oil companies tend to move. They don't move like, at least in the options world, like they don't move like, you know, the Mag 7s or
No, of course not. And
No,
so I think it's just a matter of like you know, that's why we had what we had for so long. And I think, you know, they act like it just kind of happened because of the '08 crash, but it was like it's all, you know, Wall Street gets their fucking hooks in, and they saw what was coming, and everyone wanted to start these new companies for fucking cheap and see who could make it, you know what I mean, on other people's cheap ass money, you know. So are those days over yet? I don't know, but Trump's definitely putting a test on everything in the market right now to see how resilient things are.
Look at Tesla, dude. I mean, we're talking about a 50% decline from its peak, which when it went to like 480 or whatever.
Yeah, which happened, after November.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I mean, and then it drops back down into the to where it's normally trading at. I mean, you know, whatever. Elon doesn't give a shit. He's a multi-hundred billionaire. But like, what I'm saying is, it's just it's. I mean, it's kind of crazy the flip not to go on too much of a tangent here, but like the flip, before, Elon aligned himself with Trumpy, it was a very crippy, loved company. Like when I say crippy, obviously I'm talking about the Democrats here, and now it's completely flip flopped. I mean, now it is it is a blood company, the Republicans, and the Crips are literally blowing up and destroying Tesla dealerships
Yeah.
over this, which it's crazy.
Right.
I
Long
mean,
time.
Elon is a crazy guy. I mean, I respect the man, but I mean, sometimes you got to question what the fuck is he doing? Like,
So you gotta start questioning what he's actually doing. Like what
I mean, when his stock, when the stock of Tesla falls 50% from its peak, I mean, obviously,
there's a problem somewhere.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like,
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think you can just flip flop your customer base like that. And I think Tesla's going to continue to just, I think as long as it's a sexy stock to trade, it's going to have life. But how long can it hang out?
well, they do have earnings this coming week, and I was
And
sharing
they're going to be terrible, obviously. I
probably,
mean,
and
Probably
I looked
Tesla,
at.
like most of the other companies in their earnings
So
calendar.
I posted something on this in the Discord that they're I don't know if it was the daily or the weekly, but Tesla's literally like the 100, the 200-day moving average are like coiled up like right next to each other, and that is exactly where Tesla's price is at. So it's like it's rip or dip from
yeah. And I
here.
mean,
And if it dips, it's going back to 100 when it did in
the problem is
2022.
right now with Tesla is it's almost impossible to play because it's so fucking juiced. Like it's more juiced than almost anything as far as.
I mean, that's why retail traders typically traded on a Friday, on
Right.
Yeah.
Fridays
Yeah,
because
no, this was a
premium.
Tuesday earnings. It's going to be one of those ones where you basically should probably stay the fuck far away
Oh,
from
I
it.
mean,
But,
yeah, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't. Yeah,
I would
just
not touch that with
the IV crush alone. I mean, anything out of the money, the implied volatility will crush you. I mean, you might as well just play the
yeah,
post
Yeah,
earnings
I
on
would not
that.
touch that with a 10-foot pole. I would not touch that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too expensive. It's just too expensive. I mean, and
yeah,
same thing with Netflix, what we just saw. And shout out to Ghost Recon on the server. I mean, he bought the 10, the 1,050 calls on Netflix. Even though they had great earnings, they only went up like 3%, right? And
yeah. It ran up beforehand, like everything does.
yeah, but and unfortunately, he bought this coming Friday, May whatever second expiration, 1050 calls. But the IV crush will set in come Monday morning. He's out of the money, and I don't know if it's I mean, it didn't go up that much. I mean, normally with the earning report like that, I mean, Netflix would typically, go up 15%.
Right.
It only went up.
Average.
It only went up like 3, right? So what I'm saying is, with Tesla, I mean, I think everybody's expecting I mean, I think everybody's expecting bad. So, when everybody's expecting bad, I mean, I don't know how the market's going to play it, but all I'm getting at is it's like earnings at this point. I don't even think they fucking matter because it's so there's so much uncertainty with the tariffs. That's why Netflix
The
only
best,
went up 3%.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Uncertainty is at its peak right now.
I guess
With tariffs.
Netflix is sort of like a hedged. Is not sorry. Hedge is the wrong word. Is it does have some distance from these tariffs, I guess.
Yeah, it's and it also seems a little bit more recession proof. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
recession proof is what the word I was looking at.
Yeah.
But tariffs, especially, tariffs don't really affect it directly.
Yeah,
In almost
Netflix, no,
any
but
way.
Tesla, oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, it does. Big time. It does.
So like that's the thing, and Apple as well. I mean, they've been manufacturing. It's something interesting. I mean, for Apple to manufacture their iPhones in the United States it would cost the American consumer to buy one. It would be like $3,000-$4,000, if they had to start manufacturing. And that's where things started getting wild. And I think the Trumpy administration or whatever started, or whoever and giving them some passes. But even when they gave them the Nvidia and all that, like a little bit of a grace period, like then he comes back and says, well, yeah, but they're still going to be at a baseline of 20%. It's like every day it's something different with this guy.
It's something new,
and it's the craziest volatility I've seen in a long time. And I think we're due for a little mini rally. I mean, as I was saying earlier, you weren't on here yet.
I don't simply because.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a mini rally.
Well, here's the reason I don't see one that really is of much
importance
is because motherfucking I don't think Trump and his homies wanted to. I really don't. I think that, I don't know what
You're right.
I just really don't.
You're right.
And so if it starts running too much, you'll see them coming out with tweets to literally try and fuck it up. And so it's like that's what we're gonna see.
I agree. It's a day trader's. This is a day trader's like dream.
Well, but we do need a rally so that these premiums can come down a little bit. We need some
flat. Look, as long as the VIX is anywhere north of 25 or 30, the premiums on SPY, QQQ, they're gonna be out. They're gonna be jacked every time.
Right. I mean, obviously, we all know one thing for certain. For this administration, we're going to be having one of the most volatile markets that we've had in recent times with all this crazy.
Well, the difference between like we had the dot-com bubble, we had 08. 08 was pretty aggressive. I'm not gonna lie. 2018 was aggressive. I mean, COVID was an aggressive thing too. But the thing is COVID was like a one. I don't like to count COVID because it was like pandemic shit, like world freaking out kind of thing. But it did V-shape recover very quick because the Fed stepped in, cut rates to 0.
Well, and the government basically said, "Hey, we're going to do whatever it fucking takes." So it was like, okay, everyone felt like their money was safer in the market than anywhere.
But the velocity of the moves, even from the downside, even to the upside, is insane. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen it.
08 was worse than I think most people realize that are a little bit younger, because like the S&P literally lost half of its value at one point,
56% from top to bottom.
So that would literally be SPY at fucking like 285.
I've posted all. I don't know the numbers exactly,
and people don't understand like that's how that like shit can go that way really quickly.
No. What is happening right now? And the thing is and what a lot of people don't realize is the bond market, right? The Japanese yen, gold, things like that. I mean, all of these things that we pay attention to, but most people don't. Those are I like to call them snitches. The bond market is a snitch. It's gonna tell you kind of what's coming your way. Now, when you start seeing the dollar and equities and bonds and even gold shit all going down at the same time, oil, that's something that doesn't really happen.
The gold part, that's a topic I want to tap into in a little bit on this podcast.
Tap into it. I'm just saying, like, when you start seeing normally, equities down, bonds up, or dollar up, equities down. When you're seeing them all down, even on an intraday basis, like, I mean, all that's showing is, fear of capitulation, people moving to cash or moving their money into other things besides the U.S. dollar or gold, or because gold has peaked. I mean, gold is still rising. I mean, but it has come down a little.
No, it had a little fart of a day. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't shit, man. Like, it wasn't shit.
I'm just saying, gold's been on an insane tear, which is...
Here's what we got, boys. Here's what we got. I'm going to ask some little key pointers here. We got an everything bubble. That's what I like to call it.
Yeah, the everything bubble.
Absolutely. Everything bubble. Anything that goes from bonds So the money pressure from the Fed, interest rates. What else do we got? That's also a bubble. Commercial real estate loans.
Oh, I mean, we can get into that. I mean,
okay,
that's
so
a whole other topic, but that's another black swan right
basically, there. The point is, you have so many factors that are obvious on how big this bubble is of a market that with just one toothpick of something going to shit, it just causes, as we all know, the famous domino effect. That when one thing gets affected, it starts affecting the other. Now, how can they control the fact to stop it if it's that massive of a bubble, which it is beyond anything that we witnessed, even the dot-com.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super bubble, bro. This is
even the housing crisis of 2008.
Yeah, this is a super bubble. Yeah,
it's a piece of caca. 2008 is a piece of poop.
Next to what we have caca, right, man. It's like a sandwich de jamon, man.
Exactly. So if you imagine when just one thing pops and goes to shit, whether it's the commercial real estate market first, or whether it's the interest rates, or whether it's the rate cuts that come after, whatever it is that comes first, that doesn't go right. I mean, the capitulation is going to be obviously as volatile as we can possibly think of in our heads. And, well, as much as it wants to drop, it can drop 56% like 2008. It could be worse than that. We don't know how far it can go.
I posted the levels in Discord. I think the very bottom we could go. We got two major levels. We got the bottom of 2022, which is the bear market of 2022, right? Which I don't know exactly off the top of my head what that is. I can share my screen a little bit, but below that you have the top before the COVID drop, right? Which is very close to the 2022 bottom. And then after that you have the COVID bottom as the bottom. And I think that if we do go, I think that's as low as we will go. And that's a substantial move.
I mean, I wouldn't put a number on anything just simply because we don't know what's going to continue happening policy-wise, and until we know what's going to happen policy-wise, how can we make any sort of prediction on how low it can go? Because if you start seeing regional banks failing, I mean, I guarantee you we can go back down to fucking 350, 300. I mean, it can happen. I'm not calling.
Well, that's like COVID low levels right there, almost.
And then it could go lower. Do I think it will? I hope. I mean, I hope it doesn't go that motherfucking low. I'd like to see lower, but I don't want to see it go that fucking low necessarily. But
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, like I'm not going to sell any of my long term. I'm going to be buying I'm going to be buying puts and taking whatever money I make off those and just buying the dip on anything that I either already own or want to own at an awesome discount for my long.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Right. I mean, you realize that most of these equities, price over equity ratios, are obviously extremely overvalued. And I'm not going to be buying the stock or an equity that's going to cost me 20 times more than I can normally buy it at a normal rate. So yes, as far as it can go down, I don't know. We obviously don't know how far.
We have no idea, man.
But you know what? That's fine, because for us, very wise investors, when we see a bottom, we're going to tap into it and get into the.
I'll say this: if you think that, everybody, listen. If you think this is the bottom, this is not the bottom. Yeah, we may rally a little bit from here, what they call a dead cat bounce. You ain't seen nothing yet. I advise you not to even look at your portfolio and cry about it. Just don't sell. Do not panic sell. Just if you have dry powder.
If it pushes back up to like a level like 575, 580, maybe sell. You know what I mean? Honestly, but
I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends on what type of account you have. I mean, if you're in a Roth IRA, I mean, what I'm getting at is I've never sold my long term ever because I'm in a Roth IRA. So it's like every time these things happen, I look for opportunities to buy. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that.
I just bought Nike at 50. Right? And here, honestly, I'll give you all some. I mean, this is not financial advice, but take a look at UPS, Pfizer, Nike. Look at. I got to look at the other charts, but I mean,
I'm going to give not financial advice.
I mean, even Walgreens is a little tricky. I don't know about them, but yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's companies out there, and when I say UPS, Nike, and Pfizer, those are definitely some that I would be paying attention to. Intel would be another one that would be a great buy. Even Disney, honestly, uh, for long term. Just make sure you don't go all in, thinking at the bottom's here. Do it properly. Scale into the position, because who knows where the bottom is, right? But regardless, this all comes back to the bond market, man. The great basis trade is what we're calling it. I mean, like when yields go vertical in a week like they have. I mean, Treasury yields surged to multi-year highs, basically, not multi-year highs, but I mean, it's not in a very very, very, very rapid motion, which is not your usual, uptick. I mean, stocks and bonds selling off together, not normal, right? It's a leverage unwind. It's not a flight to safety, in my opinion. It's I don't know what to call it, but what's causing it? I mean,
I've got my theory.
I mean, hedge funds shorting Treasury futures and buying actual bonds, low risk, high leverage. Volatility spikes, spreads blew out, forcing liquidations. Funds are dumping bonds to unwind trades to, make yields surge.
Hey, Chuck, here's a question I'm going to ask just because I want to ask. Realize that U.S. Treasury bonds, the top two countries that hold the most of our
China
bonds,
and Japan.
What would happen if they start selling?
They're already selling
at a constant rate.
They're already doing it
constantly, like every quarter.
I mean, no.
Well, Japan has been doing it before this. Like they're reducing their balance sheets. I'll tell you what I think personally is this shit is a little bit overblown by the media, because they just love to stir up anytime you can mention China and scare people, it's fucking great. It sells news. So they love that shit. But in my opinion, just knowing how big, like once I researched how large the carry trade went, I was like, okay, what happens?
Let's reference that real quick. The carry trade.
So the carry trade, the bond carry trade,
August 5th of 2024. I'm just giving reference, and I'll let you explain it. That was when the Japanese, the Bank of Japan, for the first time in 30 years, decided to raise their interest rates by 0.25%, right? And why was that such a big deal?
Well, I'm talking about this late bond carry trade, not the Japan.
I was talking about the carry trade from the yen thing that blew up in August.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the latest one that the news is all over and people are blowing out of proportion, I believe. As far as like the global, they want a pitch that globally people aren't trusting the bonds, so they're going to sell them. I don't really actually think that's all that true. I think what you're seeing a lot of is, basically it's just a things coming together at the right time to fuck over the bond carry trade, which is what I thought you were talking about when you were talking about the great carry trade. So the bond carry trade is a high frequency trading,
aka the basis trade. That's what they calling it.
Yeah, the basis trade. Yeah. And what it is it's a high frequency trader, basically, but it's $800 billion is about its average. Sometimes it can be about like 8% of the bond market, and sometimes it can be as high as like 30% of the trading going on in the bond market. This shit should be illegal. There should be no high frequency trading. They don't provide shit. And every time if you ask a high frequency trading company what they do, they provide liquidity to the market. It's only true in a good, healthy market, and a healthy market doesn't need liquidity. But the minute shit breaks, all hell goes fuck. It fucking they cripple markets because of their shit, and supposedly they're adding liquidity to the market. But anyways, the point of this is that it was a perfect storm. When you have tariffs, you have a lower demand in bonds anyways, because what happens is when people are doing trade and they get dollars, a lot of times these countries just turn around and put those dollars into treasuries, because it's
most of the time,
it's cheap and it's easy to do. And right now trade is at an all-time low because people don't even know what the fucking price is to get shit across the fucking borders to do the damn trading. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just getting kind of ridiculous, I think.
I mean, but that does go back to the Japanese yen carry trade back in August. I mean, the whole thing with that was not to cut you off or get off topic here, but the whole thing is since Japan has been sitting at basically zero interest rates for 30 years. I mean, it only made sense for most investors, especially the big boys, to convert into the yen. Right, the Japanese.
Yeah, well, because for a while they were actually getting paid to hold yen.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
and then when that 0.25%, which is very minimal if you think about it.
Yeah, but when you go from getting paid money to
but if you do the math, and I'm not going to do it, when you have like billions or trillions of dollars,
it was trillions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. A 0.25 increase is why we had the fiasco on August 5th. Now, that was a one-off thing. I mean, we rallied from there. I get it.
One-time thing. That was it.
It was very fast. But, I mean, it did drop significantly that day. I mean, I will never forget that. I mean, what's causing this, right? I mean, look, in my opinion, it's the basis trade unwinding. Hedge funds, they're shorting Treasury futures and buying actual bonds because it's low risk, high leverage. Volatility spikes, spreads blow out, forces liquidation. Funds are dumping bonds to unwind trades, which equals
in a market where liquidity is already low.
And all that does is just make yields surge. And why does that matter? Well, hedge funds are under pressure, in my opinion. Margin calls, repo stress. Like when I say repo, it's the reverse. What is it?
The reverse repo facility.
The reverse. The repo stress in liquidations. I mean, short-term funding rates is spiking, which means stress is like the plumbing. And stock down plus bonds down equals hedge funds, not retail, are driving this move. I mean, for the most part. And also you have foreign countries also selling.
I'll add on to that. Right now, obviously the liquidity is dried up as we speak. And there's right now, as we both know, as we all know, there's a massive flight to the sidelines with all this uncertainty that's going on.
Well, yes, that of course.
That massive flight. Obviously, I've been seeing throughout last year, 23 and 22, the highest amount of corporate selling on almost all companies that we could possibly think of in the market. Aside from Warren Buffett having the biggest pile of cash.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to the G of all G's.
So there is a massive flight of this whole sidelines that obviously people are just parking cash and putting into safer assets. Obviously, including metals like gold. It's still going to keep skyrocketing as we speak. So, yeah, liquidity is grinding up to the massive. It's not going to be like how it was for these past, since 2008, 19 freaking years, or since 22.
I mean, if things continue the way they continue, and not to be the biggest bear in the world here, but we could see something way more massive than 08.
100%. 100%.
The velocity and the speed of things that are happening.
And I'll add on a point. I'll add on an expansion of a point. You mentioned gold multiple times, and this is about to become more expanded than what I'm saying right now. But obviously, at least I've been noticing recently, central banks transactions in regards to this commodity. This obviously during this value since the moment it's been discovered, freaking 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But you got China buying a shit ton. Still keep buying as we speak. recently, a news that I saw 2 weeks ago caught my attention. Germany recently transferred 1,200 tons of their gold that was stored in the New York City vaults up in Manhattan back to their country. So right now, you got, obviously, from what I've been seeing, massive flight to safety and security, and not trusting their fiat money and just having this gold currency, this gold money and gold metals, just going into the vault.
I mean, precious metals, for the most part, I mean, Chiro knows more about this than anything.
So the thing is, this massive flight to the sidelines is massive than what we're seeing, especially when I've been noticing, and now we're starting to notice all these transactions of this gold commodity being bought up into their portfolio, into the balance sheets of the central banks, like China's, like Germany's, and like a few others that I have to go back and find them, see all these transactions that come through. Because, yeah, behind the scenes, obviously they might not put in the media, they're not trusting the dollar. They're selling their dollars. They're keeping this, asset that maintains the value, which is gold, which is something that stores value forever. So,
I mean, in my opinion, gold is, it's store of value, whatever. I mean, it's a precious metal, great, but it's not attached to anything anymore since the 70s. But I get it. I understand why. I do. The bottom line that basically, like, all I'm saying is it's just like, everybody, look, what you really need to be watching, instead of like your individual stocks or SPY, like, you need to watch the 10-year yield. I mean, it's the canary in the coal mine, right? You need to watch, more selling pressure if the yields push higher and TLT, continues to drop. You need to, rebound in bonds equals, it's signaling that, forced selling might be done for a reason, meaning the Fed is stepping in. I mean, and from a tactical standpoint, short-term hedge like SPY or TLT puts, could potentially equal protection on your portfolio. The Fed wild card, right? Quantitative easing is not off the table if this gets any more messy. And
also,
bank regulate. Bank regulation tweaks could allow bonds, or allow banks to step in and buy the treasuries, right? So we don't know. Like, it's that's the thing. And I'm just saying that. And the bottom line, I'm going to finish with this, and then I'm going to let you. The risk-free trade turned into a leveraged bomb, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
Volatility is not over. Protect your capital, manage size, and don't ignore the bonds. Okay. If yields keep climbing, buckle the fuck up. Okay. If they stabilize, we could see a relief bid. Maybe.
Don't forget.
I'm done.
Don't forget to watch the 3 to 10.
Well, the yield curve, of course, but I mean that's what I mean when I'm saying about the bonds in the first place. Yes, the 10-year 3-month yield curve, yes, is very important. And
for everybody that's going to watch this podcast, please disregard all the massive noise that we're going to keep seeing throughout this whole administration and everything. Just keep an eye on the bonds, like Chuck said.
That's what I was saying. It is not about stocks anymore. It's about the bonds. It really is. I mean, Jamie Dimon. Sorry, dude. I'm just saying. Jamie Dimon came out the other day, okay, and saying, basically the bond market panic, the incoming bond market panic, not a cute little yield wiggle. I mean, he means Lehman Brothers style liquidity crunch is what he was basically kind of trying to say.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
I get what you mean. What I was adding also to the point is, if you're a technical and analysis trader or know some knowledge about TA, for the people that are going to be watching this, please keep an eye on the SMA crossovers like we've been noticing. Because we all know, yes.
Are you talking about the death cross?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a technical thing, and here's I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm a TA guy. That's all I basically usually base my trades off of, obviously. Sometimes, recently, TA's out the window, bro. It's out the fucking window, bro. All it takes is one tweet or one mention of tariff this, tariff that, blah, blah, blah from Trump. One man alone. And your TA's out the window. I mean, bro, we blew through. You know how many levels we blew through that when that 90-day pause thing happened? I mean, the technical was out the window, bro. It was. I mean,
yeah.
To an extent. I mean, if you go out on further time frames, like on like the monthlies or like the weeklies and stuff, yeah, we did bounce off certain moving averages, or we're holding those. But what I'm getting at is your smaller time frame day traders, your TA is not going to work in this market when you get some crazy tweet from old Trumpy or some mention.
When fundamentals change, technicals mean dog shit. That's the fact.
Exactly. And is it even fundamentals? Really? Is this even fundamental?
It is. Well, here it is. Here's what it is it's a lack of fundamentals. And so when people don't know what the fuck's going to happen, you're going to see levels get broken through at a much faster rate than people are used to, just due to the fact that in everyone's mind, they're having to weigh something that they would be building over years of like, okay, this is what we've been working with. This is happening. A little change here, a little change there changes the overall fundamentals slowly. When you think the fundamentals are going to be 10% tariffs and then they're fucking 30 and 60% on countries, you can't really plan for that kind of shit.
I mean,
it's like,
and the whole reciprocal tariff thing, what did we start at with China? Like 100 something, and then they came back at us, and then it was like 200. I mean, all it's doing is evening itself out. So this is a very I want to say this. Anybody who's listening, you are living, if you're participating in this market or watching it, or the economy, you are living and witnessing historical. This is a historical time right now.
All that's something.
I mean, this is like, oh wait, I mean, this could be even greater than that. I mean,
all that's something as well for everybody that is going to be watching this, and I'm glad we're saying this many times. Every once in a while, please zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Daily frames, weekly frames.
Well, you know what they say, when in doubt, zoom out.
Please zoom out. Don't keep yourself on like a horse and look at a micro scale all the freaking time. Zoom out.
Yeah.
It's the bigger picture.
If you're looking at the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minutes, and that's all you're looking at, I mean, zoom out to the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterlies, and see what's going on. I mean,
right. Take a look at the bigger picture sometimes, because you have to see the bigger picture, not just the small picture.
Well, because those are the major levels that those are the major levels, right?
So there's a lot to see on a bigger scale.
What I was going to say earlier, though, is like when I was talking about the bond trade, and I think I got cut off a little bit, was just that basically what people are not getting. The news wants to talk about China. So China's one country that does not want to see interest. They want a strong dollar. China doesn't want a weak motherfucking dollar. That's what a lot of people don't understand. And so I think the news is just kind of like I said, trying to kind of like push this bond thing as a flight from America. And I think there is a little bit of that. But like we said, it was more of a liquidity issue. But China, it doesn't even make sense. China is a manufacturing country. They want to push all their goods over here. They don't want a strong dollar. I mean, they don't want a weak dollar. They want to take strong dollars for weak ass, for their weak currency. They keep their currency low on purpose. So they might have done a little bit of selling just to exacerbate the problem and get under Trump's skin. But overall, China's not going to fucking dump a bunch of bonds unless this shit gets way, 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 way fucking worse between China and America, which it could. But We've yet to see that. China's pretty pragmatic. I don't see them doing anything too crazy. No matter what Trump does, I think they see it as a fucking 4-year problem. They don't. I don't think they think, American politics. I don't think the Republican Party can really survive what's going on right now. So we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but after Trump, they've got nobody. So it's just a matter of
time will tell.
That's my 2 cents. I think that everything's getting a little bit overblown. Japan is kind of happy with where things are as well. Now they actually do kind of want to see the yen get stronger. They don't necessarily want to see the dollar get weaker, but they do want, if whatever floats their boat, I think they're kind of okay with to some degree.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, okay, we don't have to really increase interest rates right now because the dollar's sucking and our yen is staying at the levels that we want them to stay at.
Yeah, the dollar's been falling, the yen's been rising. That is
140. They want about 140 to $1, and that's like kind of their line in the sand, and so that's where they're staying, and they've been doing I don't want to say they've been doing a decent job. A lot of it's just fallen into their lap. But they plan on keep reducing their balance.
Trump basically gave it to him on a silver platter.
And so, they're going to continue to lower their balance sheet, which is going to take a little bit of demand out of the bond, out of bonds. But overall, I think that my main thing, we keep saying what to watch for. The main thing is, and what I've been saying ever since November, which just can be a testament to too, is it is all about bonds. Since November, that's all I've pretty much been trading.
Yeah,
but
I got wrecked on them too.
What I was gonna say was, we're just looking at an old school issue, which is, okay, there's 2 trains of thoughts. You have bulls and bears, and the yield. How bonds are always funny because you say bulls or bears, and it's like, well, what are you talking about, the yield or the price? I'm always talking about the price generally if I'm talking about bulls and bears. So
in regards to bonds, yeah, because
so
when people say, "Oh, the bonds are up," people don't understand. When bonds, they could be talking about the yields. Yields up, bond prices down.
Yeah. So but my point is that basically you have 2 trains of thought, okay? And one of them is, okay, inflation's going to be a major fucking problem going forward. The other one is, okay, the market, the whole economy is going to take a big shit, and the Fed is going to have to step in just to save fucking jobs because we don't want to see unemployment go to fucking 10% in the next couple of years,
Right.
And so this is what we're seeing. It's a tale as old as time. It's just a different way. The story's just being written a little bit differently as far as, one man causing all this chaos. But I personally still think that you're probably not going to see any sort of interest rate hike in this type of environment, because it's going to be real scary for anybody to raise rates.
I agree with that. I think a hike is off the table.
It's off the table.
I think staying paused is.
But my point is, well, let me finish. My point is that creates a reasonable floor on the bond prices, and if we want to talk about UB or we want to talk about
let's use TLT as a reference.
TLT, the price is pretty much going to be the low 80s. You're not going to see. You could see 78. That would be very
78, like we saw in 2023,
but you're probably not going to see anything lower than that. If you do, then you're actually seeing
things are. Yeah, that's if you see TLT. FYI, everybody, TLT, the 20+ year bond ETF, which it just tracks the bonds basically. You see that thing go below 78. I mean, that you're breaking a major level there. I don't know where the next stop is.
You're not going to probably see it. Greed will take over. That's why I keep telling, anybody that's asking me about this, is greed will take over. Countries can act like they're not going to buy our bonds, but the minute the yield gets to a juicy enough price, they're
going to buy the shit out of it. Why wouldn't they? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
sure, if you can get a 6% yield on Treasury, U.S. Treasury bonds. I mean, goddamn. I mean, 5,
Exactly.
even 5. I mean, we've tapped 5 multiple times, but yeah, I mean, we go any lower on TLT than 78. That means the yields will
And
probably be
people,
above
yeah.
5, and I mean, they'll buy the shit out of those bonds.
And Germany, Germany's issuing their own bonds, and people are like, okay, yes, you're finally starting to see a little bit out of Europe that's like, oh, okay, I could actually put some money here and not feel like a retard, right? Because they're getting some of their freaking yields up a little bit closer to what we have. Now they're still way fucking far away, but they are trying, to raise money because they were trying to militarize. It's always a good sign when Germany's trying to militarize in the world, but it's just one of those things where I think the floor is pretty close to where we're at too. So if you start seeing
You're
these
talking
low
about for
prices,
bonds.
yeah, if you're starting to see these low prices, it's like take advantage, man, because this shit is not going to happen very often.
If
It's
you're
really
gonna do
not.
it, just be cautious with the options on TLT. Just because.
Yeah.
If you see TLT go to 78, just buy the
Just
fucking
buy a
shares.
shit ton.
Yeah, I mean, just buy TLT.
Just buy
hold
You'll
the
probably be up. You'll probably be up
I
10 to
mean,
15% within the year at some point.
I mean,
I mean,
here,
I'm not saying
I
you're
haven't
right.
done this yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just share my screen real quick, just so people can understand exactly how aggressive and why you should do this. Okay, so hold on. I know that. Am I sharing my screen yet? No.
And that's all I've been doing. My portfolio,
So,
now granted, I should have made a lot more money before
but
motherfucking.
just look though, real quick. I mean, like this is TLT. This is the 20+ year bond treasury yield on a weekly time frame. Let me move these down real quick. Okay. Let me actually expand this just so I can just give you a perspective of how you don't. This is moving like a meme stock. Okay. I mean, no shit. And bonds stay typically stable. Yes, you have your moments. 08, right? Ran up. I mean, again, weekly charts. I'll even turn off the sell signals. I don't care about these. What I'm getting at is okay, here's 2013. Was this 2015? Yep. It's got to be 2018, 2016. And then, 2018. And then, boom, here's 2020, right? We spiked, right? Why? Because the Fed came in and cut rates to 0. So bonds obviously went up. Now, we hung out around here for a little bit, but coming towards the end of 2021 is when we saw the real fall off, is when we started raising rates. And you see this blue line right here, right? That is where we bottomed out in 2023, which somewhat matches the 2013 levels. And so right now, we're at 87, 50? I mean, we're down there, but you see it break this level. I mean, that's scary. I mean, yeah, I say this for a reason, and y'all probably agree with me or not, but like the World Trade Organization doom drop is, I guess, what they're calling it. Like, the U.S. MCA exports are down 12.6%, global GDP down 7% due to good old trade, fragmentation or tariffs, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The world's economic engine is coughing, and not one brought jumper cables, I guess you could say, to restart it, right? China's cargo crisis, canceled deliveries from China hitting supply chains, industry scrambling equals the stock market's wobbling, bonus panic. Trump approval rating now is at the lowest it's been and are now linked to the container shipping. I mean, Bloomberg had a warning siren that their editorial board, we might be on we might be one bad Tuesday from a financial crisis, meaning like it could be around the corner. We don't know.
Oh, any day, bro.
Right. So banks plus financial firms, unresourced. Governments, about as prepared as a raccoon with a fucking fire extinguisher. Okay. Fed focus equals pain. I mean, the Fed is still all in the inflation fight. Jobs, secondary. Market bailouts, delayed. Add in quantitative tightening plus no retail capitulation. Bears still have the wheel here. as far as equities go. I mean, the bearish outlook is apparently, and I disagree with this. I think we've been in a recession, but we're not in a real recession yet. But let's just say that the GPS has rerouting itself through a mid-economic collapse. High interest rates, tight money, broken supply chains. Sounds like a setup for a technical difficulty, my friends. Screen on the economy. Okay. And I'll end it with this. I mean, China's got options. China does have options. Bigger trade surplus, less debt, more flexibility. The United States, more debt, more tariffs, fewer options. Is that if this escalates, inflation plus recession combo meal is on the menu like a Taco Bell, okay? And overvalued and unconfident. Okay, markets are still priced like it's 2021. Weak macro plus high equity allocations equals a big disconnect. If Trump's policies weigh on growth, that disconnect turns into, oh, fuck me, or oh. You know what I mean? And the takeaway that you need to take from this is what I'm saying is our markets are acting like nothing's wrong. But under the hood or behind the curtains, supply chain chaos, inflation pressure, and weak fundamentals are driving all of this. Volatility could be the main course on your steak dinner when you go to Peter Luger's next time, okay? That's all I'm trying to say.
It's going to be volatility is going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner the whole 4 years of this administration.
I mean, I don't even need to show another chart. This shows it right here. Boom. I mean, I could pull up all sorts of charts. I don't want to. The bond market is trading like squid coin. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I don't need to. I just, that, I wanted to get that off the table, people. You need to start paying more attention.
How low can TLT go? That's the question.
78's the number. I mean,
I'm still fucking bullish. I think that the economy is going to take. I mean, I'm watching the numbers like on the trade shit internationally. The numbers are down so fucking huge. You can't tell me the next jobs report or two is going to change things, in my opinion. I think we're going to start seeing fundamentals take over, and Trump's not going to have his finger on the pulse so hard because the market will finally say, okay, you know what? We're beyond the point where Trump can get rid of this shit and things can go back to normal. We're going to get to a point where people are like, okay, it's broken no matter what he does at this point. And then that's when capitulation is going to set in, is when people realize, okay, he doesn't have his finger on the pulse anymore, which no one wants him to have his finger on the pulse, but they still have hope that like things can turn around quickly.
I mean, look, Trump could, at the end of the day, whatever his plan is, you know, he could
make some deals.
He could come out of this looking like a hero at the end of the day.
No, he can't.
No,
he could. No, he could.
He cannot. To a bunch of retards, maybe, but no, he cannot.
The reason I say this is if he pulls off what he's trying to do, or what he says he's trying to do, and it actually works, and things actually do settle. It's going to take time. I'm not saying this is happening this year.
It's not going to happen.
I'm not saying it's going to. I'm saying it is. There is
He can't. You're saying it could happen. It can't. It literally cannot.
I mean,
it's a pipe dream.
I don't like to say that anything is impossible, right? So
it's about as close as you can on a macro level.
I mean, yeah, okay. It's like buying an option that's worth a penny and thinking that
it goes up.
Yeah, okay.
He's going to be successful in what their actual plan is.
I mean, I think his first success
use tariffs. Well, look, here's what's going on, guys.
His first success is going to be if he can get interest rates lowered and refinance the fucking $10 trillion in debt.
It's not even the point. The point is for them to use tariffs in order to increase the tax base on the lower and middle class a little bit more silently, right? If you say, hey, we're going to tax you 25%, people will freak out. But if the tariffs hit them slowly on the prices, they don't notice as much as who fucked them, right? He can still blame Biden and shit. So they're going to increase the tax
he's always
base.
going to blame Biden.
They're going to increase the tax base with tariffs. And then they're going to give all the fucking richer people tax cuts. That's the whole motivation here for a lot of this is like, hey, we got to increase the tax base, but we still want to give ourselves tax cuts. That's what the tariffs are all about. It's all about money flowing into the government coffers. Who pays more when it comes to tariffs out of their check? Lower and middle class people, right? If you make $100K and you spend 50, then guess what? Those tariffs just affected half of your income. Whereas the guy who makes $1 million a year,
is it fucks the middle class more than anything,
and the lower class. This is
the lower class, but really the middle class though, because the lower class is already sort of fucked anyway. I mean, like the middle class now. I mean, Jesus. I mean,
but here's the
you
thing:
can't even fucking buy a home these days. I mean, it's not with the more.
And then guess what? All these poor people that are already barely hanging on, they're going to have either more welfare or the government has to say fuck you. And then what do the cities look like? We're going to have fucking homeless people everywhere. He's not going to come out of this looking like a hero. I think he's a bit of the scapegoat. I think they've got a perfect patsy here to be like, oh, dude, we can make everybody just hate and blame Trump and forget that we were all there at his inauguration fucking shooing him on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's going on
I
here.
mean, look, to end it real quick, like, as we've been saying, man, it's a comedy show. When you got Elon, Lyndon McMahon, you got Howard Lutnick, you got Bess and Navarro. I mean, it's a circus. It's actually. I mean, if you guys like comedy, I mean, just watch what's going on. I mean, fuck the stock market. I mean, just look at the back and forth, like decision making that this administration is making. I mean, like again, we don't talk about politics on this show, like the Democrats. But it's Crips and Bloods. I mean, Trump. I don't even consider him a blood. I mean, I don't even know what color to call him, but I mean, even the Bloods are disagreeing with him on a lot of things.
Well, what?
Dude, his whole image is making deals. He looks like the worst poker player of all time. Like, it's like, bro, you keep showing your cards, and then you don't even use any of this. He could have been negotiating a lot of this shit for the past 4 months.
He could have pocket aces, and he folded.
His strategy is not there. That's the thing. His strategy's not there. It's not clear.
He's in over his head.
I mean, the guy has never had to answer to anyone in his entire life. It's a shocker to me that he actually. Well, it's not. It's not a shocker to me that he got reelected over Kamala, but it is a shocker that he actually got back in office after all the fucking shit.
The only thing more shocking than him winning is it's so shocking that the entire other party can't come up with a way to beat the guy. I mean, that's even more shocking. It's
we talked about the first debate with Biden. I mean, I was on mushrooms and we were, that one. And then the second debate with Kamala, I mean, like at the end of the day, like Trump was going to win, and it's probably for the best. I mean, who the fuck knows what Kamala would have done with this shit? But
it would have just been Biden 2.0. I mean, markets ripped under Biden, so
they did. But okay, fine.
They dropped and they started to rip it.
So they dipped when the Fed stepped in and raised rates. I get that. That's fine. I get that. I understand that. But bottom line here is
he left office at an all-time high. I mean, that's all you can really say.
Yeah,
he did. What we got. Here's what we got. We got a comedy. Hold on, wait. We got comedy. We got a sitcom, and we got a movie happening at the same time. So everybody that's watching,
if you've seen The Big Short, get ready for the next Big Short.
Just make sure. Exactly. Everybody that's at home, make sure you have extra stacks of popcorn, because you're going to need it. You're going to be enjoying this
and just to throw this out there, just keep your eye, and if you're part of the Bag Brigade Discord group, obviously I'll keep it updated, but just keep an eye on the U.S. office market.
Oh, also, I'm sorry. One other thing. watch for this in the next week to 2 weeks. Is China is supposedly turning around a lot of ships that were headed this way.
Yeah.
So I think the supply crunch is about to. You're about to start seeing people fucking buying fucking toilet paper and fucking paper towels again because the shit's about to probably.
Yeah, I mean, like I heard something like Temu or some shit was like banned from like whatever. I mean,
China's way more likely. China's way more likely to cut off supplies than they are to sell a bunch of bonds. They're way more likely to be like, okay, let's see who needs who more.
I mean,
right
Trump's basically been trying to get China on the phone, saying like okay, let's make a deal, and like they don't want to play a game.
And China, this is like
are they holding their cards tight and waiting for basically Trump to fold?
It goes.
Well, remember though, we're not hearing that from Trump. We're hearing that from people around Trump.
Well, we're hearing it from like the news and shit.
We're hearing it from people around Trump that I think are trying to keep the sanity a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All I know is look, welcome to Circus Olay. Okay, 2025.
Here's the point I want to add too. If I can. It goes back to what TooWoke said a while ago that China manufactures everything. Here in the country, yes, back 40 years ago, we used to manufacture some products, and that'll be fine. So, we'll depend on what's manufactured here. Now we don't obviously manufacture shit. We're just the biggest money printing presser that this whole entire world is looking to see. And the thing is, because China manufactures 95 to 97% of our products, basically they got the whole country, in this case the U.S., on their fucking leash.
Yeah, so they can you actually bring up a good point. You do. Yeah. And when I say that, and I'm gonna end it with this. I'll let you finish it, but you do bring up a good point. Globalization, right? Globalization basically started, I don't know, I think it was Reagan, and then Clinton made it even more like, whatever, which basically took, so basically what you got, here's how you have to weigh it. You have X amount of Americans that lost their jobs because we took our manufacturing overseas to make things cheaper for the American consumer, right? So how do you weigh that, right? Like, do you weigh it like, do we bring jobs back to America and make it more expensive to make those products, or is it actually better to just continue what we've been doing and keeping the globalization and making the regular American consumer be able to buy, regular, cheaper products through globalization from overseas manufacturing? You got to understand, like, we're talking about thousands, hundreds of thousands of people maybe that have lost jobs, but you're also talking about millions of people that are paying higher prices. Because
I mean, the only thing that makes sense is to bring back manufacturing of certain things that you don't want to be relying on another country for things that are actually important.
Yeah, like semiconductors or
rare earths, semiconductors, medicine, fucking, all that kind of shit. Yes, you need to be manufacturing at least a big portion of that in your own country so that if things do ever escalate, you're not like, hey, China, I know we're fighting over here, but can we get a little bit of that fucking yttrium or a little bit of that?
Especially anything that's energy related, obviously, too.
Yeah, right. Here's another point. Here's another point to add to this as well. If you want to bring manufacturing to the States, there's obviously a few barricades or obstacles that obviously the company that wants to bring manufacturing back, they have to go through. I mean, obviously, looking at the fact, yes, there's so much lobbying about everything going on in Washington that to actually bring something back to manufacture in this country that's going to be 4 or 5 times what it normally would cost China to produce, there's obviously, as we all know, some sort of lobbying involved to ensure the safety net to say, all right, we're going to go ahead and bring this company back to manufacture in the States, but you have to follow our terms and conditions and a little bit of finance in our pockets so you can do it.
Well, it's just natural. It's just more expensive to produce in the United States.
Which is completely unfair and unjust.
Right. But all that does at the end of the day is drive prices up.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it's like, that's all it does. And which
it's like looking back.
So it's a good thing and a bad thing, but you got to look at it at the way I just explained it. You got hundreds of thousands of people that could potentially get jobs back here in America on the manufacturing side of certain things, but at the same time, You got millions, if not hundreds of millions, of consumers here in the U.S. that are feeling the pain because of it.
It won't work because no matter what, okay, Trump's going to leave. The 150, 200% tariffs aren't going to stay, right? So just think about it like this. You open a factory, okay, and your job is to make fucking shoes, okay? And I can make a shoe here for, I don't know what it would cost, probably, I don't know, $10 an hour or $10 per pair or some shit. China's making them for $1.
Right.
Even with a motherfucking 200% tariff, they're still motherfucking cheaper because in America, you're going to have a worker who's got safety standards, you got pollution standards, you got motherfucking unions, you got healthcare, you got all these things that add costs that still aren't going to be fucking able to compete with the foreign countries. So it's like looking back 50 years and going, I remember when America was doing this, man, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but the world's changed.
The golden age is after World War II.
The old man is looking backwards in time thinking,
hey, it all goes back to boomers in their yards, bro.
It's a fucking boomer thing. This is
no. Yeah, do them. This is hey, and shout out to all my boomers out there. Dad, pops, whatever. Like, hey, it's time for y'all to retire, quit, like give it up, okay? Y'all's time is done. Like it's our time now. Boomers in their fucking yards.
Yeah, go work in your yards, boomers, and quit spraying and quit getting people over there to spray your yards.
Yeah, let the millennials, let us millennials and gens
get your green thumb going. But yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, it's an old man shaking his fist at
the boomers still have control of this shit, and their time is coming, and I don't. There's going to be a great shift of wealth and all this shit, but anyways, I think we got the point across. I mean, what wouldn't you say? I think we can.
There's one other point I wanted to add it to.
Yeah, add it.
About the ships that China's taking back instead of bringing to the States. Yes, supply shock's going to be obviously it's going to be seen across the entire country. There'll be a panic buying 2.0 and so on and so forth. So that gives you another solid example of how China just has this whole country under fucking leash. They can say like how they did. All right, no, we're not going to bring the ships to your ports with all the crazy tariff bullshit you got going on with us. So you're going to have to suck it until you actually make a better deal.
And everyone's getting shot in the foot. It hurts China too.
Yeah. I mean, guys, this hurts nobody's like everybody's. I think everybody's feeling the pain from this shit.
It's what it's really doing to
except for
showing how democracy only works if you have a somewhat intelligent population. And what we're seeing is with big tech and everything else, people are getting stupider.
Well, especially with AI, because
our politics
to write you a.
Our politics are going to continue to get stupider. When you have stupid people, they fall for stupid tricks. And so a country like China doesn't have to worry about politics as much because Xi seems to be a pretty sharp guy. He can think long term, whereas in this country we don't even know what we're going to be voting for in 4 years. We don't, you know what I mean? We don't even know if China is going to have a 200% tariff next week, much less 4 years from now. Whereas China can think, okay, this is my 10-year plan, this is my 20-year plan, this is my 50, however.
Well, I mean, it's also China. They're a communist country. I mean, there is no democracy. Whatever the CCP wants, they do it.
Well, that's my point. Is if you have a good leadership in a place where there isn't democracy, they can actually steer the ship better than a country like this, where motherfuckers can't agree on a goddamn thing and they don't know anything. So it's like, you got people that are voting on two sides and they don't even know what the fuck they do. They just know what they say. You know what I'm saying?
Here's one thing
America's fucked is my point, and we're not going to be able to keep up. And this is a perfect example of why, is because people are too fucking retarded and they're too emotional.
Here's one thing I can add to as well. I told this to Chuck a long time ago. China is like a similarity that I can put out here in the podcast is China's like the little ants when they go pick up the food in the summer. They pick up, store a vast amount. By the time the winter comes around, they're prepared. That means when the winter comes around, everything goes to shit, everything dries up, blah, etc. So China's like obviously prepared with the mentality of saying, well, they have this tradition of making sure that they have what they need.
Well,
While
of course.
They don't care about if the U.S. is going to go to shit or Europe is going to go to shit. Because
they do care because they trade way too much with us. I mean, if they lost us as a trading partner completely, they'd be
because like in times like this,
they would be in a position that they do not want to be in.
Right, because in times like this now that everything's very uncertain, it's like the winter when the ants have to go to the anthill. So basically, they're like, okay, no, we're not going to be dealing with any of this BS that's going on right now with our most tradable partner, which is the U.S. and their stupid tariffs and all the shit that's going on with these people, especially Trump.
Like at the end of the day, and we're gonna cut it here, guys. I gotta go. But look, right, let's just leave it at this real quick. Look, this situation has gotten so dynamic, I guess, and technical. China needs us as a trade partner, unfortunately. We buy more shit from them than any other country. Yet, they are the second largest economy in the world. We got Japan as the fourth. I mean, like, they are holding a lot of our bonds and all these things. There's a lot of stuff going on. Bottom line here is just please, if you're in the market, and if you're not in the market, thank you for fucking listening, okay? And letting us somewhat educate you, I guess, right?
You learn a thing or two. They learn a thing or two.
I gotta roll.
I know we're leaving and we're giving our piece out. But I just want to say this though: at the end of the day, if you're in the markets, please stop just paying attention to the. He's gone. All right. Yeah. Please stop paying attention to just your Teslas, your Googles, and all that, your spies, and you need to be paying attention to bonds. You need to be paying attention to gold. You need to be paying attention to every fucking thing that matters. Because at the end of the day, again, all it takes is a Trump tweet. With that being said, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about this. If you want more information about this, comment in the description. Just leave a comment, and I will give you a Discord link to our Discord server that I used to charge for. It's free now, and it will be free forever. It is like if you're that interested, I will give you the link, and you can join. Okay. I don't like to leave podcasts without saying our, goodbyes or, whatever. So I'm gonna let Gammanomics go first. I'll end with mine. We're gonna drop this. We're gonna get off the line here, and then yeah, that's it. Happy Easter. But go ahead. What you got to say for the people?
All I can say is, if you're an individual investor right now with a 401k, don't look at your 401k unless it's paying dividends. That's one thing I can say. Not financial advice. And if you have any circumstances about how volatile the market can be, please, and I will say this again, please look at the bigger picture of things so you can realize
when in doubt, zoom out.
Exactly. So you can find out what is really going on. And don't stick to a micro scale of things. That's all.
So I'll leave it at this. I got a couple things on here. And I'm not going to do my usual ones. So number one, Chuck Taylor, Chuck Tiz, Chuck Bloomberg, Chuck. He don't ask why. I ask why not. Because why the fuck not, right? Number two. I made something out of nothing. Thanks for nothing. Number three. Do yourself a favor, because I can't save you. only finger to the sky. Only the higher power. I'm not gonna say God, but only the higher power can. And what were you gonna say?
Here's what I'm gonna say. If it's too volatile, don't forget the 1 5-letter word that makes things volatile, and that's called gamma.
Gammanomics, baby.
Gamma makes things move, baby. Don't forget that.
Hey, and on that note, well, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. 5-letter word. Oh, you had me. You know what? It doesn't matter. All I gotta say is thank you so much for tuning in, listening. hopefully this was informative. I know this is pretty straight to the point. I mean, normally we go on tangents and talk about all sorts of shit, but this was straight driven towards exactly what was going on, and I think it's good. I think it was good. Again, you want to be a part of the Discord server? I will drop link in the in the description or whatever. Just welcome to the Bag Brigade, baby. This is what we do. This is what we do. Chuck Taylor, Chuck Tizzle, Chuck Boomberg signing the fuck off. Excuse my language. Mopes, aka Gammanomics. I appreciate you being on the show. Shout out to TooWoke. He had a dip. I mean, that's my co-host from day one from old Tiz Talk podcast. So look, if you didn't understand anything that we were talking about, then you should join the Discord server and let us explain a little bit more. Okay? That's all I got to say. Because, again, don't ask why. You should just ask why not.
If you want to get curious, go ahead and click the Discord link and find out more.
There you go. That's what I'm saying, brother. All right, man. Wait. I know Mopes are giving he out there at MIAO, bro. I'm out here in H-Town. I know I'm wearing an LA hat. It's just because I lived in California for a long time, but
On the beach, baby.
But yeah. We appreciate you. We love you. Tune into the next episode. I mean, I don't know when it's gonna be. I'm gonna try to do this more regularly, but these days it's been difficult because I'm a busy man, and
We'll most likely do it after Cinco de Mayo. After Cinco de Mayo, the weekend we'll do it.
Who knows? We'll figure it out. But either way, I thought this was good. Hopefully, everybody got something from this. Otherwise, look, peace out, Cub Scouts. Welcome to the Bag Brigade Podcast. Mopes, Gammanomics, love you, brother. I always appreciate you and your informative, talks and decisions and analytics and everything. We could have gone way deeper, but we didn't. TooWoke, I know you're not here anymore. Always love he is the fundamental futurist right there, that guy. Okay, so when he says something, you better fucking listen. All right, excuse my language. And when I say something, I'm not saying don't listen to me, but you should listen to me.
And when I say something, make sure you listen to it. We might learn one little
And I'll say, happy Easter. Cheers, baby. All right, let's all.